sessions back to when we could all be in person and do things together. And both Evan Anstey and James Robert Kirby have been part of that. And they've also been part of previous live sessions since the pandemic. They've got new material. We didn't get a chance to record it over the summer because of a lot of stuff going on, with our situation in our house and everything. And now during the winter, we thought we would have a live session with them, and that's what we're doing this afternoon. So, Evan and James, great to see you guys.
Great to see you too, Howard.
Yeah, Howard, great to be here.
So I really appreciate you doing this. Always enjoy your music. I should mention this is new. This is original material. It's the latest release for you guys. And on the Batavian, if you're looking at it through Facebook, you can go to the Batavian's homepage, find the post for this, and you'll find links to Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon where you can get this music. So check it out. I think you're going to enjoy this. So guys, why don't we take it away? I believe the first song you're playing is 44.
You got it.
Yep, okay. You got it. Ready? 2, 3, 4. The scene plays out in my mind as I read what's on the page. I can still hear the sirens screaming, black smoke billowed as if the fire was still burning. And how I rode my bike across the street where the neighborhood stood still. To watch our heroes fight the flames that dance between our wonder and our fear. And you were there when the wall gave way, and you dove beneath that engine to escape the debris. Did you leave a piece of yourself behind in the piles of charred brick to remind our memory of the Cadenhead and the paint store? It's written with the number 44. Oh, my father was there among the men who would make it home that night. But deep down he heard the news confirm that one young man was fighting for his life. And you were there when the wall gave way, and you dove beneath that engine to escape the debris. Did you leave a piece of yourself behind in the piles of charred brick to remind our memory of the Caden and the paint store? It's written with the number 44. The scene plays out within my mind as I read what's on the page. I can still see the family crying, hear the doleful drone of Amazing Grace. You were there when all gave way. And you dove beneath that engine to escape the debris. Did you leave a piece of yourself behind in the piles of sharp brick to remind our memory of the Caden and the paint store? It's written with the number 44.
Well, very nice. It's a beautiful melody. We got a one of the viewers also said it was very nice, with a little smiley. So appreciate it. How'd that? Did you guys write that song together, and how did it come together? And tell us a little bit about what you wanted to accomplish with that song.
So with that song, our project that song's on, The Weekend Preacher, our idea behind it was sort of taking your local newspaper and putting it to song, essentially. So having stories in there that would be interested to a small town community. And so when we started the process of writing it, the idea that I had was for Evan and I to maybe start just writing about an event or something that maybe occurred in our lives living in a small community. So an event or something that just seemed we can remember and recall. To be able to come across as somebody who's lived in a small community and that, so to kind of have that relatable nature to it. And so that song 44 was about a paint store fire in the village of Kenmore. I grew up in the village of Kenmore. My father served and my uncle served in the Kenmore Volunteer Fire Department, and in '97 there was a paint store fire at the Caton Hendler paint store, and there was a firefighter named Timothy Goff who was injured there. There was a wall that blew up. So basically there was an explosion, this wall went, all this debris everywhere flying, and this one firefighter, he lost his life due to complications from that. And I remember when that happened. Of course, I remember when that fire was going on. It was just just about anybody in Kenmore was somewhere over by there watching what was going on, the events that was going on. It was a pretty big deal. But then when he died, it's even now every once in a while you'll see the number 44, and as a remembrance of the firefighter, that was his number. So that was kind of the story behind the song, and so that was something I kind of wrote mostly for me. And then Evan, I believe, he added in some things with that. So that's kind of how the process of this album was. There was some stuff we kind of wrote a little bit more together. Some stuff we wrote independently, maybe added a few things, tweaked a few things. But
for songs like that, I mean, like Jim wrote the melody and the lyrics, and pretty much most of the song. But for me, I wrote a lot of like the other instrumental parts, like the bass and the mandolin and stuff for that.
Okay, great. So I hadn't realized that Weekend Preacher is kind of a concept album. Is that what I'm hearing you saying? So explain to us what the album's about.
So it all actually kind of started off as a joke. We were texting, and then what did I say that you said sounded like an album?
What it was that I was preparing for an interview with Genesee Life to discuss some of my stuff, and I was listening to some past episodes, and I found in 2018 an episode that Evan did with Lucine talking about his album "We Will Be at Peace," and he mentioned on there that he received his online ordination to do weddings. So I had to tease him a little bit about it, and so I kind of said, "Hey, you know what your job could be? You could be like a weekend preacher, work at Channel 4 during the week, weekend preacher in the weekends." Yeah. And and then I sat there and said, that actually would sound like a pretty interesting album name.
Yeah, and like ultimately, like the name itself, The Weekend Preacher, to us, it kind of sounded like the title of a newspaper. And for Jim and I mean, like, we both love journalism and history, and it was like, okay, what if we wrote a bunch of songs about local events and stuff that's relevant to us? I mean, I grew up in Niagara County. He grew up in Kenmore, as he said. So we wrote a bunch of songs that were either relevant to the places where we grew up or just, other issues or things going on around us.
Great. Well, I believe we have another song from Weekend Preacher coming up, Emerald City. Tell us just briefly about that song, and then let's hear it.
Yeah, this was another one that mostly Jim wrote, and I kind of came in with a lot of the instrumental parts. But Jim, you could probably explain it better than I.
So one of the things we did when writing this, outside of maybe pulling from some of our own experience, we also would go through local newspapers. So in my case, it was the Kenton Sun. I was getting those in the mail for a little while, and I found this story about this lady who owned this cafe in the city of Tonawanda, and just her story of going from owning this cafe to then the cafe closing, but then her becoming an author. And one of the unique things about it is that people would come in to the cafe and they would sit down, and she would catalog their stories. Would just talk about their life or whatever like that, and she would catalog these stories. And so she had all these stories when the shop closed down, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do? And so she decided that she was going to be an author. And the thing that the story that ultimately got her sort of noticed as an author was her own story. She wrote a story about herself, her journey. And so the article was basically talking about that, and I was just really inspired by that. Here's somebody that journey that they went on. And so yeah, that's what this song's about. It's about her journey, and I think it kind of communicates to a lot of people, especially in small towns. And just sometimes, just when you think maybe you've hit a roadblock, maybe it's not so much a road, maybe it's not such a roadblock, but maybe it's just a detour that's going to take you to something else, and maybe something more fulfilling. So,
yeah. Great. Well, Emerald City.
All right. Very good. Like Dorothy in Kansas, searching for life beyond the plain. She said she wanted color, she lived a life too long in beige. For 3 years to pass us all into a vivid memory of a dream that saw your neighbors as friends. It's not quite the Emerald City, but it may just be the start. And it takes a little courage, and it takes a lot of heart. Though some things won't last forever, still there's some that will remain in the stories you've collected and the books which bear your name. You opened up the doors and you embraced the changing wind. And the tea was always hot to serve the people pouring in. With 3 years to pass us all into a vivid memory of a dream that saw your neighbors as friends. It's not quite the Emerald City, but it may just be the start. And it takes a little courage, and it takes a lot of heart. Though some things won't last forever, still there's some that will remain in the stories you've collected and the books which bear your name. To know the words to write the chapters, to find the means to set the stage, pursuit of what we're after. We could all use some help along the way. It's not quite the Emerald City, but it may just be the start. And it takes a little courage, and it takes a lot of heart. Though some things won't last forever, still there's some that will remain in the stories you've collected and the books which bear your name. It's not quite the Emerald City, but it may just be the start. I think I added an extra little at the end, but that's my bad.
That's great. Nancy Kirchner says, beautiful music and lyrics, great talent, boys.
Well, thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
That.
Thank you.
So, and I think there's another beautiful melody. You two have been doing music for a while. Just briefly, tell us, just real briefly, each of your musical backgrounds, but then I want to hear how you came together. I believe you've done a project together before, and kind of what's your musical collaboration history, too, and how'd you two hook up to work together?
Well, my musical background, I've been playing music for about 20 years or so. I started playing the violin when I was 8, and I learned through school. And then eventually through time, I picked up the mandolin, and then my grandpa kind of taught me the basics of guitar, and I kind of taught myself from there. And then just some other instruments. But that's kind of basically my background in learning. But I've played in a number of bands over the years, and I still do. But the way I met Jim was we were at one of our favorite coffee places in Lockport, Steamworks, and I remember the owner told me about him. Oh yeah, we're drinking Steamworks right now.
We are drinking Steamworks, by the way.
We're not being paid; we just like them. But
and they're not paying me.
Say, if you're ever in Lockport, Canal Street, right there, Steamworks Coffee Roasters, get the Brazil roast. You will not regret it.
Very good.
Well, hopefully they'll see it. The owner will see this, and now next time you get in, you'll get a free cup of coffee.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. But anyway, yeah, the owner told me about Jim and that he thinks that I would like his music. And so he was playing there like a month later, and I came and I watched him. And I was like, wow, this guy's really good. So for me, I kind of started off as a fan of Jim, and we quickly became friends. I was talking to him after the show, and I was like, hey, I like your stuff. And I bought his CD. And that's just kind of where the friendship started. It was about 4 years ago or so. And we just got to talking about music a lot. And I think we ended up just playing together at a couple shows. And that's, yeah, I think, yeah, that's pretty much how we met and how we decided to do that together.
Yep, that about sums it up. I mean, I would say for me, certainly growing up, my mom was always involved in choirs and everything. So music was always a part of my life. I did percussion in school. Didn't really go any further than, say, middle school with that. But then when I got in high school, I started getting interested in writing songs and in learning to play guitar and stuff, and then just kind of branched from there. Did a lot of stuff with church, with playing for youth groups, and then eventually playing in church. I really loved, came to really love folk music, and started to play. Well, I had so I was part of a band for a while called Emmanuel, and so that was fun. We did played a lot of places, and that also kind of gave me an avenue to write and to record, to start doing that, and then started doing some solo stuff, and just happened to be like I think one of the first times I played at Steamworks, Evan was there, and yeah, we talked for a while afterwards. It was really cool. I checked out his music and stuff, and so we had sort of a mutual interest in styles and everything, and he liked what I was doing, I liked what he was doing, and so we started playing some other gigs and stuff together, and just kind of ventured. This was kind of a new thing for us to collaborate, and that was a new thing for me too, to collaborate with anybody for sure on something like this. And so it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Hmm. Yeah, and then so that was actually like our first time we recorded music together was The Weekend Preacher, and then I actually just released a new EP about a week ago or so now, and it featured Jim on one of the songs playing banjo and harmonica.
Two of the songs.
Oh,
actually.
two of them actually. Yeah, you're right. Wow, I'm sorry. But yeah, he actually played piano on another one.
Apparently,
too.
I'm getting cut out of one.
Oh, I can't forget you. But yeah, no, Jim was on two of them, just showcasing his talents with all the instruments, and it was really cool. I was happy to be able to work with him, and we're hoping to do more projects together in the future.
Yeah.
Just the timeline's a little unclear, but yeah.
Great. So I think we're doing another song off of Weekend Preacher, Rum Runner. So just give it a little introduction to that, and then kick it off.
So this one I was reading about. It was in a local paper, and they were. I don't know if it was just an article.
So it was a Lockport Sun, wasn't it?
I think so.
Like
yeah.
Lockport Gazette or Sun or whatever.
Lockport Union Sun, I think.
Yeah,
it
Union
was.
Sun, yeah.
But I was reading about the people that they called rum runners, and it was these people during Prohibition who were smuggling rum and other alcohols over into the U.S. And I found out a lot of them were coming over from Canada, just sometimes in boats and just like sneaking them past the authorities and basically getting the alcohol over that way. And I learned a lot of new terms that way too, like cigarette boats were like some of these like fast little boats they used to get across the lake. And Jim taught me tipple, which is apparently some kind of slang for alcohol.
So basically when we were writing together, and we would share our ideas and stuff like that, we would kind of fine tune some things. And so with this one, some of the phrasing and stuff, I suggested certain things. And so one of the things I said was, because I was thinking to myself, like, what would be a good word to talk about alcohol, which is what he wanted to, but would be descriptive of that, but then would also sort of maybe help with the phrasing a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of said like tipple, and it seemed to work out.
Yeah, rolls off the tongue. But yeah, and for this one,
rolls down the tongue.
But for this, like, we both love bluegrass, and we had to do a bluegrass number on here.
That's saying you're making me thirsty.
I don't think it. I got some old granddad over at the house, and I had that last night. It's like delicious. Yeah, wouldn't be allowed here legally 100 years ago, but yeah. So that's basically what Rum Runner was about. The Rum Runners.
Okay, great. Well, let's hear it.
Alrighty.
Ready?
Under the cover of darkness, get in our boats and we run. We do it all before old Uncle Sam takes a shot at our fun. The tipple too sweet not to challenge the law. Our cigarette boats rode like a chainsaw. Ladies from church, they might call it a sin as we seek out our liquor and bootleg gin. Go, Rum Runner, my friend. Be quick in your game of cat and mouse, 'cause no one wants to end up in the jailhouse. I'm looking for his Canadian ale. The restaurants here never have it for sale. Speakeasy questions we treat as surprise, but suspicion gave them a reason to pry. We knew the hot spots where the smugglers unload. We took our goods and we had fun down the road. Men in Detroit saw their work drown away, but by 27 they came here to stay. Go, Rum Runner, my friend. Be quick in your game of cat and mouse, 'cause no one wants to end up
up in the jailhouse.
Come out to the West End, join our smugglers' crusade. Striking iron while it's hot, with the guards at bay. Go, rum runner, my friend. Be quick in your game of cat and mouse, 'cause no one wants to end up in the go, rum runner, my friend. Be quick in your game of cat and mouse, 'cause no one wants to end up in the jailhouse.
That was great. I really enjoyed that and really love that. Have you ever heard of a bluegrass band, Split Lip Rayfield?
No, what are they called?
Split Lip Rayfield. I don't believe they're together anymore. Became aware of them in 2001 when they opened for Dave Alvin in Santa Barbara, and it just really impressed me. Arrangement-wise, not quite like theirs, but to me, there's this contemporary bluegrass vibe that you kind of match up with theirs. I really like that.
I'll have to check them out then. Yeah, I'm always keen to finding out new musicians. So. Yeah.
Well, we haven't quite got to 30 minutes yet. If you want to sneak in another song, you got something ready?
Sure. Lightning?
Sure, okay.
Play Mando.
All right. Gotta switch out the old...
I'll do the... I'll
Caught you off guard.
No.
All good. We're always ready.
We're falling apart here.
But yeah, I'll do the violin solo on mandolin this time. That was the thing on this album was like, each of us are multi-instrumentalists, so we each recorded a bunch of parts, but doing it live, we might alter it a little bit to just make it fit. However, because normally this song's got it's got bass, it's got some electric guitar, it's got violin on it, but.
Do you guys miss being able to play live, and you eager to get back?
Yeah, I mean, I just finally started playing gigs this past month after not doing them since October. I mean, I did some live stream stuff here and there, but the last in-person gig was October. But then this past month, I played 2 gigs over at Live Edge Brewing Company in Burt in Niagara County. One of them was with a group I play with, Acoustic Jelly, and the other was a solo one, but it felt really good. And the cool thing, too, was, you could tell people were glad that live music was back. So it's nice, and hopefully more and more keep coming.
Good. Well, hopefully, Billy and I got vaccinated today, so we're looking forward to being able to move out and about, and more and more people are getting vaccinated. Plus, I think with the warm weather, it's going to help a lot. So hopefully, we're going to get back to a lot more live music in town and around the area.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it was great. It was good to hear that we're getting so many more. I think the president said hopefully we're going to have enough by the end of May. I mean, I know everybody won't be vaccinated by then, but it's nice that we're getting more and that we can return to normal.
It's nice to know that you get a feeling like there's a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
So, for sure.
So what are we going to hear? Tell us a little bit about this song and launch into it.
This is titled Lightning in My Bones. It's actually about the transfer building, which is in North Tonawanda. There was an article that I came across in the Kenton Bee, I think it was. But it was talking about the transfer building, the history of the transfer building. So we had, with Rum Runner and, with this one, we had some songs dealing with historical either structures or events, because that's part of what makes up a story of a town. Is some of those historical those things, and we're sort of part of that story, and so we included those. And this one here is kind of written from a first person, but personifying the building, this transfer building that's just boarded up, but at one time was essential to taking the electricity that was being generated at the Niagara Falls power plant to downtown Buffalo. And so they needed a transfer building. And so this transfer building that's at the corner of Twin City Highway and Robinson Road was essential for that. So that Buffalo was known as the City of Light at that time. And that played a big part in it. And then over time, it wasn't needed anymore. It was kind of boarded up. There were a couple attempts to tear it down, but it survived those demolition attempts, so to speak. And now I think there's some push to possibly, do something with that to preserve the building, preserving the history of the North Tonawanda area. So, and that's what this song's about. And like I said, Lightening My Bones.
Great.
Is the title. I made Lumber City, yeah, I was a pioneer. Much of me was patent pending, a cop to move the year. And I'd bring about the nightlife, count on me to paint the town. Fired up like the 4th of July as I drank Niagara down. I've got lightning in my bones, lightning in my bones. All to light up every inch of downtown Buffalo. Got that lightning in my bones, Tom Edison would know. Tesla made it so, there's lightning in my bones. Many days of tomorrow, if only left me high and dry. Boarded up in an unmarked grave once they cut me from the line. But the legend still rumbles, and I swear without a doubt, they may have been able to flip the switch, but they sure can't knock me out. I got lightning in my bones, lightning in my bones. All to light up every inch of downtown Buffalo. Got that lightning in my bones, Tom Edison would know. Tesla made it so, there's lightning in my bones. Oh, I made Lumber City, they won't leave me high and dry. 'Cause I'm still standing on my own, and I won't give up the fight. I've got lightning in my bones, lightning in my bones. All to light up every inch of downtown Buffalo. Got that lightning in my bones, Tom Edison would know. Tesla made it so, there's lightning in my bones. Oh, Tesla made it so. There's lightning in my bones.
That's another beautiful song. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
It was mostly his composition again on that one. I was more instrumental parts.
You know, I tend to be more of a lyricist.
Yeah.
So that tends to be kind of more of my obsession. Evan's just got a real knack for just beautiful melodies, instrumental melodies and stuff like that. If for folks that are listening, if you check out the album on track 5, it's How Far They'll Go. Evan just does a really beautiful job with the string arrangement there. That was all him, and it's just absolutely wonderful.
We'll check it out. All 4 songs you played today have very nice melodies. As somebody interested in songwriting, how do you develop your melodies? Do you is it singing along with the chord progression you come up with, or do you work out the melodies ahead of time, or how do you do that?
You know, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, generally for me, it's more as I'm kind of working out the chord structures, and that usually I start kind of working out the melody. And like what I'll do is I won't like hum. A lot of times I'll just start to say words like gibberish, whatever, sing it out that way. And sometimes when I listen back to it, I can kind of piece words together. That's generally how I do it, though I have had times where like I'm at Wegmans or something, or I'm working at work or whatever, and I'm starting to think of this melody in my head, and so then I'll grab my phone. This is the handy thing about phone. I'll grab my phone with voice memos, and I'll just, kind of sing a little bit there, and then when I have a chance, sit down to kind of, fine tune it, hammer it out a little bit more. So that's usually how it is for me. I don't, Evan.
For me, I mean, I don't really ever have a roadmap when I'm coming up with melodies. I mean, sometimes it's easier if I kind of just like plunk it out on the guitar or the violin or something and kind of get an idea from there, because I guess I just feel a little bit more free when I'm doing it on an instrument and then translating it over to my voice. Because I think when I try and do it with my voice, like I almost put sort of like a pressure on myself to make it sound a certain way, but like with the instruments, I don't know, I just feel more freedom in my creation. So sometimes when I'm writing stuff, it'll just come out, and then other times I might try and like base it around something, but it's really hard to say. It all just comes from one spot.
Great. Well, I really enjoyed today. I appreciate you doing it, and I hope you have a great rest of the weekend and stay safe.
Hey, thank you, Howard.
Hey, thank you,
We
Howard.
really
You too.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. So this is Howard Owens, publisher of the Batavian, signing off. We had another live music session, the Batavian Sessions, this time with Evan Anstey and James Robert Kirby, and we appreciate their time. So, guys, you all take care.
Thanks, Howard.
Thanks,
too.
Howard. You too.
Bye.